Hey everyone, Greg Cazillo from Cazillo.com. The other day, Kim and I had the pleasure of dog sitting Gracie here, who is a Jack Russell. And sometimes I forget about how hard it is to photograph pets. I don't do it a whole lot, maybe a couple times a year. I'll have the opportunity, I guess I should say, to photograph someone's pet, usually a dog or a cat or something like that. But anyway, by the way, you have one more day to photograph your pet for the pet photo assignment. Make sure you post them over to the forum. And so yeah, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard, and that is March 14th. March 15th. Sorry, March 15th is the last day. Anyway, I'm going to kind of go through these, talk about what I did, and just kind of stream of consciousness, talk about them one by one. So first, I thought it would be really cool to get her up on the bridge. I needed to do a photo just to see the histogram, what it looked like. That's why sometimes I'll zoom out a little bit to get a little bit more of the scene. So this was my basic exposure, completely unedited. Didn't do anything to it, and I just wanted to see my histogram, which is there and looked good, and exposure was good, no issues. That means that my settings were on 3/20th of a second at f4, ISO 200, and that was my first guess, and it was right. So, well, I shouldn't say 100% guess. I wanted to be at f4 in case I was getting close, so that I made sure her entire snout was in focus, her nose and her eyes, and maybe even her ears are in focus when I'm at f4, basically focusing on her eyes. And 3/20th of a second, I just want to make sure that I had high enough shutter speed in case she moved or turned. And of course the ISO 200, keep that low enough to minimize any noise. So, of course, checking the meter, and that's how I got it. Then saw she turn, tried to do this, and this isn't all of them. I didn't want to bore you with every single shot, but you know, I'm still warming up at this point, obviously. This is actually a little bridge with a little pond. Right now it is March, so it's not very green outside, and the area out back isn't very nice looking. The studio area with the gardens and all, it's just not really looking very good, which is normal over the winter, and so it's going to take a little time before it's looking good. So I had my work cut out for me. So thought I said, maybe the bridge would look good, maybe I can do something with it. Horrible shot, doesn't work, terrible. This is a really cute one. This is the one that I had shown last week. A lot of Jacks will do that. They'll raise one paw, especially when they're thinking, when they're looking. And they'll also do it sometimes when they're running. And they'll kind of lift one kind of like it's hurting or like they're limping, but they're actually not. So it's actually a normal thing that Jacks do. And so I showed that in this. You're going to have a lot of your photos when you're shooting different animals. If something like this happens, maybe you want to study the dog, maybe you want to know a little bit more about the breed or the cat or anything. If they have something that they do on a regular basis and it happens, make sure you're able to catch it, because it tells more about that pet, that hey, this is a Jack Russell and this is something normal that they do. Any other dog, you would think, well, why are they lifting their front leg? Do they need to go to the bathroom and lift their back leg or something? You know, so it just kind of, it's interesting. That was my edited version. Okay, where am I? Something I wanted to point out about this one. As you can see here at the bottom, I did cut off a little bit of her paw, and that's not good. We want to try and leave a little space all the way around. But with a quick grab shot like that, sometimes it happens. So this rock is actually about 3.5 or 4 feet off the ground, and this goes to show that you cannot trust a dog. I totally didn't think that she was going to jump off of this rock. I thought it was going to be high enough. I took her leash off. I sat her up on this, and this is before Kim had come out to help me. Sat her up on this rock, and 3 seconds later, bam, jumped right off the rock and gone and started running away. And luckily she knows me well enough and she listens a little bit, and so she didn't get too far. I was able to put her leash back on her. But just because you think that it's too high to jump doesn't mean that they're not going to. I'm sure cats are probably even more notorious for this, but dogs, you know, they'd be surprised what they'll jump. off of, especially if they're chasing something like a squirrel or, you know, whatever else. So keep that in mind. Next one, back on the bridge area, cut off the back of her butt there, her tail. If I was going to do anything with this photo, I'd have to kind of crop it right through her middle. I was really just going to have the negative space on the left, and you know, having a hard time kind of keeping up with her, trying to get anything good here at this point. Now, obviously, this is a little bit better one. We were worried about her jumping off of the bridge into the water. I don't know if she is a water dog, if she likes being in the water or not. So that's why we kept her on the leash, as you see. And worst comes to worst, if I really needed to or really wanted to, I could have edited out this leash. I wanted to talk about it, that's why I didn't. But if I wanted to give this photo to the client, or the client wanted it for something, you know, I could pretty easily take this into Photoshop and edit out this leash. So you know, that works. Now, how I got her to look into the water was actually by taking rocks, tossing them into the water, and I got her looking and curious, and that's how I got this expression, basically. And so I shot a couple of those, and there's another one and another one. Now, back into the studio. So that was pretty much all the good stuff that was outside. There really wasn't much good stuff that I got. I thought for sure I was going to get more better stuff outside than I was inside. Now off to something different. I said, you know what? Let's try something different. So I was going to do this on a studio background, and I was like, it's not really working. Didn't really like it. Wasn't coming up with anything good. So I thought I'd try this. So I have the chair on the studio floor there with a light in the background and a light coming from the left on her. Thought, it's pretty cool. I'll try it, see if it works. And sat her up there. Amazingly enough, I did get her to stay. That actually worked out well. It took me a little while to get her to keep looking at me. She started to get used to my voice since I had been with her all day long. She was relatively tired. We'd been giving her some snacks. She had already been fed. We had taken her out for a little walk. And, you know, we've been outside playing a little while. So she's just a little bit tired. Not real tired. But, you know, that can be something that can always help as far as pets are concerned. So I had the lights set up. I have, you know, maybe I'm still playing with them slightly and holding the camera. And eventually I said, you know what, this is stupid. Look how different my compositions are. So eventually I put the camera on a tripod right there. And so that made it a lot easier. Although I see I didn't do a very good job of keeping it straight. Probably should have done a little better, but I was really concentrating on her, and I did leave myself just enough room that I can straighten out the photo, make it nice and straight and even and look good without cutting off any of the chair, so that works. Now, keeping her, she did jump off, I think, once or twice, but she listened pretty good since we were inside. We're in a more enclosed area. All the doors were closed to the rest of the studio, so that kind of minimized the noise that was coming in the room, and there was no one else around in the studio at the time besides Kim and I to help her, or to keep her attention, I should say, and so that helped her kind of stay in that zone and do what we wanted her to do. I had this little squeaky toy at this point, and she was really paying attention to that little squeaky toy. Just wasn't listening to my voice anymore, had to get something else, so I took one of those little squeakers, which I should have grabbed and demoed for you. That would have been actually really, really funny, but I forgot to do that. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, and then, of course, the one thing that always works, I see I straightened my tripod a little bit there. The one thing that always works is food. So that's why she's kind of up in the air. That's one of her little talents, is that she will dance a little bit when it comes to a treat or when it comes to food. And here's the squeaky toy again. And so at this point, it's really more about keeping her interested, trying to get the look that I want, waiting for her ears to be up and forward, and you know, her attention to kind of be right on me. That shot kind of looks uncomfortable. She's kind of halfway down, and actually it looks a little bit out of focus maybe. This one, much better, a little sharper, and she's looking attentively right at the camera, trying to figure out kind of what's going on, and so that's good. See, if you look at that one, her ears, one ear's kind of back, one's forward. You know, you want those ears forward, looking pretty, the normal way we would kind of expect a dog. Unless both of them are back and it's in a more relaxed setting, you typically want the ears forward. Then, you know, doing her little dance again, sitting up, kind of looking at Kim, hoping for her treat. And so, you know, it's a cute overall shoot, but every time, I swear, every time I do these kinds of pet portraits, I'm reminded how difficult it is. So the things I think I could have done better on this, be a little bit more prepared in the studio and ready to go. It was a day that, it's kind of a lazy day. It was a Saturday afternoon. I needed to do my Monday video, and so this was kind of an afterthought and a last minute thing, and I hadn't put a lot of thought into it. So think about it more. Be prepared a little bit more when you're working with pets. Unless, of course, you shoot pets a lot, then it'll be easier for you to kind of work it in. If this was an adult or you know, any kind of a portrait situation, it would have been a lot easier for me. But since I don't shoot a lot of pets, then I do need to spend a little bit more time and be a little bit more prepared. Treats are a must. Having a helper is a must. Having that squeaky toy or something like that that they can pay attention to is good. It was nice that I was able to keep her on a leash, and after they eat, after they have a treat, go for a walk when they're tired. All of those things are good pet photography tips. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you do have any questions, as always, ask away. I'm sure I'm going to do some more pets. I actually have some puppies that I'm working on photographing, and maybe I'll even get some other pets besides dogs and cats that I'm going to try and get, but I think the puppies are going to come first. So stay tuned for that. Greg Cazillo, Cazillo.com. Thanks, guys. Keep shooting. See you.